Hey there, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for our online workshop, and I appreciate you being here. And I think if you approach it with an open heart, open mind, you could get a lot out of this. It could be really a game changer in terms of your ability to have great energy, to have really good health, to have really good mental clarity, and all the things that all of us desire. You know, I think sometimes people on the outside looking in, if they've seen Kundalini Yoga from a distance, sometimes they feel a little intimidated, or people have told them that it's really difficult, or people have told them this, or people have told them that, or they see like some folks with like beards and turbans and all of that. You don't need a beard or a turban to practice Kundalini Yoga. And that's not what it's about. It doesn't require changing how you dress or changing how you look or anything like that. This is just about human life. And you know what? Every one of us want to be happy. But very few people are sustainably happy, have that deeper type of happiness that doesn't wax and wane so much depending on the outside circumstances in our life. We need a happiness that even if the outside circumstances, even if the things in our life are really challenging or even painful, that we still have the type of deep, deep contentment that keeps us in this really beautiful space. And that's what Kundalini Yoga can do for you. It's done it for me. It's done it for so many others. My name is DeV, and I am a Kundalini Yoga teacher. Kundalini Yoga changed my life. I've been practicing it for a long, long time, and I've been teaching it for a long, long time. I travel all over the world, and I teach it to all types of people from all walks of life, all types of different lifestyles, religions, no religions. Anyone is welcome with this practice, and it can work for you no matter what, as long as you approach it with an open heart and with an open mind, and you learn it. It's not hard to learn. It's not hard to do. There are very difficult practices in Kundalini Yoga, but there's also very, very easy practices in Kundalini Yoga. Most of the things that I've heard about people say about Kundalini Yoga that may be negative, or maybe, oh, that's really hard, or I couldn't do that, it's usually from people who have no experience with it, or very, very little experience, or had some sort of out-of-context experience with it. So the main reason that I wanted to create this real basic introduction to the practice is I wanted to make it accessible for as many as people as possible. And so I'm so happy that you joined me for this. I think we'll have a good time. And I just want to start by giving you a little introduction on how to maybe think about what we're going to be doing. So in this workshop there's four parts. This is video 1. And then sometime soon we're going to be releasing the second part, part 2. And then shortly after that, part 3, and shortly after that, part 4. And so as soon as each part is released, 2, 3, and 4, you'll get an email right to your inbox, and you'll be able to access it. Now this online workshop's only available for a short amount of time, so make sure to carve out some space so you can do it. We're going to keep these videos pretty concise as possible. Sometimes I start talking a lot, but I'll do my best to keep them relatively concise. And in each workshop, not only am I going to teach about the practice, but we're going to do a little bit of the practice. And so most of what we're going to do in this kind of mini online workshop are going to be things you can do just sitting. I know some of you even maybe at a desk or somewhere like that. We're going to do stuff that's pretty accessible in a small amount of space. But if you do want to like lay out a yoga mat and get a cushion to sit on, that type of thing could be really helpful, but not necessary. You can even do a lot of it just sitting in a chair with your feet flat on the ground. So I'll explain more of that as we get to those parts. But the main premise of the practice and of Kundalini Yoga is that what we're trying to do is to create a condition of the body and the mind that promotes feeling good, that promotes physical health, and that promotes a happy mind. And it really, in a certain way, is as simple as that. The practice can be very deep and even mystical, but the essence of it is just simple human happiness, simple human health, and having a high-spirited way of living to where you're able to really enjoy life. You're able to enjoy your family, to where you're able to enjoy whatever work it is that you do in the world. This isn't a yoga that is meant for mountaintops or caves. It's meant for modern day people. Even though it's an age-old practice, it's the perfect yoga. It's considered what's known as a householder's yoga, whereas many of the yoga traditions throughout history have been more for people living in ashrams, kind of like monasteries, where they're completely focused on their spiritual life. That's not the case with this. This is for people who have families, or who would like to have families, who work in the world, who may have very busy lives with very little spare time. You can do just a little bit of this practice each day, and you can get really wonderful results and give yourself more energy, make your mind really clear, great ability to focus. And this is real. This stuff works, and it works really well. Probably the hardest part about Kundalini Yoga is actually being consistent. But that's not unique to Kundalini Yoga. That's for anything that you do. We all have lots of different things that we know would be good for us if we did them consistently, and yet so much of that we don't do consistently because our older habits get in the way. And that's what I want to talk with you a little bit about, because in order to really extract the deepest benefits of this practice, it will take some consistency. And I want to teach you some of the practices, and you can, if you really like them and feel like they'll work for you, then you can integrate them into your lifestyle. And then we have a full course that if you decide to take that, it'll really help you have a very solid, very good, consistent practice that you can use day in and day out. And so the reason why it's difficult to be consistent is because the vast majority of what we do every day in our lives is based on our habits. And the reason why most of us aren't really that happy, not that deeper type of happiness I was talking about, is not because we don't want to be happy. It's because we don't yet have the type of energy or the type of vitality, or I like to use the term caliber, developing the caliber of happiness. That's the term my teacher used to use. He said that everybody wants to be happy, but very few people have the caliber of happiness. And he said Kundalini Yoga is the science of developing the caliber of happiness. And I found that definitely to be true. So, if we're going to try to be genuinely happy, have another level of vitality, have another level of health, have a deeper level of contentment, and a deeper level of purpose or sense of purpose in our lives, we're going to have to do something that is powerful enough to make a substantive change in our life. We have to do something that is powerful enough that it's at least as powerful as the amount of stress and the amount of adversity that we have in our lives. So much of us are suffering from ongoing depression, from ongoing anxiety, from chronic anger or passive-aggressive behavior. So many of us have physical challenges that we're struggling with day in and day out. And even more people have what I kind of think of and sometimes refer to as kind of like a low-grade depression or a low-grade anxiety. It's not the type of depression that would be diagnosed in like a medical clinic, at least not in a Western modern medical clinic. It's not the type of anxiety that or worries that would be clinically diagnosed. But it's kind of like this lukewarm mediocrity that we just settle for. It's just become the norm that we kind of tolerate this kind of mediocrity in our life. And that's what this practice really cuts through. And I want you to give it a try. So In the first part of the workshop here, we're going to focus on the first pillar of this. There's 3 pillars. And pillar 1 of this bright and beautiful workshop is the breath. Pillar 2 is the body, and pillar 3 is the mind. And those are the 3 parts of the human being that we need to work with if we're going to be able to make this practice very powerful for ourselves. And so we're gonna unpack them one at a time, but of course we're going to use all 3 of them together as well. And so there's a concept in yoga that is important, especially when you're talking about the breath, but it's really the underlying concept in all of yoga. And that is this concept of life force. Life force. It's the subtle energy that flows through the body. It's just your energy. Now, there's different words for it in the Orient. The Chinese call it qi. So if you go to the acupuncture clinic and they're putting the needles and they're adjusting the qi through the channels or meridians in the body, and that adjustment of the qi or the life force has an effect on different organs, different glands, different parts of the human psyche. So it's not that different in yoga practice. We're using different postures and using the breath especially to adjust the flow of this life force energy so that you get a new result, a new feeling of the body, a new, more optimized efficiency of your body system, organs working better, tissue layers are detoxified, mind becomes clear, and you have a better energy level. Your body doesn't have to work so hard to keep you healthy, to keep you happy, because you're using a practice each day to rejuvenate the energy system of the body or the life force system in the body so that you feel good and it doesn't require your body to work so hard to keep you feeling good. So in that sense it strengthens your immune system too, because otherwise your immune system has to work so hard when the life force, the energy system in the body is constricted or depleted. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in this workshop to unlock the life force in the body, circulate that energy in the body, and really give your body a feeling of great invigoration, great lightness, and great rejuvenation. And so one of the most effective ways to do that is by using the breath and using special breath exercises called pranayama in yoga practice that do this really well and really, really quickly. Using your breath is extremely powerful. If there's anything that makes sense to use, if you really think about it, in order to adjust how you feel, it is your breath. When you came out of your mother's womb, you took an inhale in. And when it's time to go from this life, you're going to take an exhale out. So it only makes sense that the one thing that gives us life and keeps us living would be important to pay attention to. Now in the full course we'll go into this in great depth about how to make sure your breath is nice and slow and rhythmic on an ongoing basis, not just when you're doing a practice, because that's very important. Because if your breath is shallow and quick, guess what else is going to be happening? Your mind is going to be quick. And when your mind is too quick, it lends itself to overwhelm. But when your breath is calm and rhythmic and relaxed, and you can train your body to breathe calm and breathe in a relaxed fashion in a day in and day out basis, all of a sudden, what else becomes calm and relaxed? Your mind. And that's one of the most beautiful parts of the yoga practice, is when you use this practice, it literally trains your body and your mind how to operate in a very calm, relaxed, intelligent way. And so you don't have to fight with your mind. You don't have to fight with so-called bad habits. If you start to do the practice, the bad habits will literally just start to fall away because you'll lose the desire for them. That's how powerful your breath is. That's why I say you don't need anything else, and you don't need to change anything to practice Kundalini Yoga. The simple formula I tell people all the time is this. just add the yoga. Do whatever you're already doing and just add the yoga. The things in your life that are not serving you will start to fade out. And the things that in your life that really are serving you, because you're doing plenty of stuff right now that's already serving you, already just what you should be doing. That's what we call supportive habits. And then there's lots of things we're all doing that are making us less healthy, making us less of who we really are, making us less happy. That's what we call non-supportive habits. When you start to do the practice, you start to change the life force environment within your body and your mind, and the supportive habits start to become stronger and more prevalent, and the non-supportive habits that you have start to lose their energy. Also, the non-supportive emotions. People are feeling chronic anxiety or chronic depression or chronic anger. Well, it's not that when you start doing yoga you never feel angry anymore. That's not realistic. It's not to say you won't worry anymore. That's not realistic. You'll still have the whole span of emotions, but when you really have a good practice, what begins to happen is that anxiousness just doesn't have the energy that it used to have anymore. That depression just starts to lose its energy, and they no longer disrupt your life in a substantive way. That's the vision. That's what happens once you have a real good practice. For starters, though, let's just experience how powerful your breath can be in just a few minutes' time, what we can do to make a real adjustment of your life force system with just a few minutes. So what we're going to do now is come ready to do a little practice. So if you need to pause the video to find a little space, you can either be sitting on the floor cross-legged like this, or you can sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, but without shoes or socks on ideally. And so we're going to now begin the practice. Okay, so here we go. First of all, if you have any medical condition, any known health condition, please, before proceeding, consult with your doctor. Make sure it's cool for you to be doing the exercises. So, with that being said, to begin any Kundalini yoga practice, we always tune in. That's what it's called, tuning in. And it's a simple mantra we chant. And if you're brand new to yoga, never done any kind of chanting at all, well, this may be new for you, and it may take a little bit to kind of wrap your mind around what it is that we're doing and why we're doing it. But I'm going to be explaining that in great detail in the later part of this workshop, and even greater practice and detail in our full course. So what we do to tune in is you bring your hands into prayer pose. You know, this looks like a ritual to some people, but there's no real rituals in yoga, not at least how I think about it. Everything in yoga practice, everything in Kundalini yoga practice is more of a science than it is anything else. So when you bring your two palms together, it brings the right and the left, the positive and the negative, the left and the right hemispheres of the brain, encourages them to balance. With a little bit of pressure on the palms, it also encourages glandular secretion. And so what you're doing is bringing the hands into a prayer pose, the palms together, knuckles of your thumbs right into the sternum of your chest, and the heart is lifted, shoulders are kind of dropped down the back, eyes are closed, and then you look into what we call the third eye, or the pituitary point. It's related to your pituitary gland, and it's what kind of makes the mind more meditative, more relaxed and calm, which is really the heart of what yoga practice is all about, making the mind be able to access its meditative capacity, which is what make you a happier person. So bring your palms together into this prayer pose, and in a moment we're going to chant the mantra to tune in. The mantra is the sounds, they're vibratory sounds that have a specific effect on the psyche. They bring the energy into the center of the body, so it's more slow and rhythmic and less arrhythmic and erratic. That brings the mind calm. That brings your energy more inward. Normally our energy is always moving outward. We're trying to get things done. So to start a practice, it's very, very important that you do this to set yourself and to prepare the body for the very powerful work we're about to begin. Okay, so make a little heat with your hands. If It's kind of cold outside where I am, so it feels really good. But even anywhere else, you warm up the hands, starts to stimulate the meridian points in the hands, and starts to signal to your body is, all right, we're going to make an adjustment here. So the mantra is Ong, like O-N-G, and it vibrates your forehead, it vibrates the pituitary, it vibrates the frontal lobe of your brain, which is the more evolutionary, intelligent parts of the brain. So it goes Ong. Try it with me real quick. Ong. And then we go Namo. Namo vibrates at the center of the chest, called the heart center. Namo. Each of these sounds has a different effect on your body and your psyche. Namo. And then we say Guru Dev. Guru is like guru, but it's really pronounced Guru, because your tongue will flick the upper palate, and that has a powerful effect. It goes Guru Dev Namo. Very simple. And so we'll tune in, we'll do that 3 times. We'll just take an inhale, we'll chant the mantra, inhale again, chant it. We'll do a total of 3 times, eyes closed, to tune in, and then we'll begin our practice. Inhale deep, exhale, and inhale to tune in. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Now inhale deep. Suspend the breath in, keep the breath in. Be still for just a moment, keep the palms pressed. And exhale. Beautifully done. Okay, so here we go. The first breath exercise we're going to do is called the breath of fire. Like anything, first time you do something, maybe a little awkward, takes practice. Anything you're going to do to kind of get a handle on it takes some practice. So if this is your first time, practice it several times before you decide whether you're able to do it or not. Everybody has to practice at first. So what we're going to do with our hands is create this what's called a mudra. Your index finger is going to come to your thumb. It's called the wisdom seal. And then you're going to bring your hands, palm facing up on your knees. And it's important that you keep your spine straight as best as possible and your heart lifted. I always think of if you keep your heart open and lifted, your spine will take care of itself. So the chest is lifted, the chin is slightly in. And so here's what we're going to be doing. In just a moment, we're going to start a rhythmic breath through your nose that is so it's an equal exhale, inhale. Okay? So some people may say, well, we're going to do breath of fire already, just starting out? Yes, because I want you to experience something that can make a powerful adjustment in a very quick amount of time. Okay? In our full course we go through much, much more. But in this I want you to learn one of the fundamental practices that will oxygenate your blood, that will harmonize the life force energy in your body, and will give you good clarity for your mind. Breath of fire does so many wonderful things. It helps to detoxify the cells of the body. It helps to keep the body nicely energized. And so it's an equal exhale, inhale. That's very simple to do. Try to do it without even just thinking about it much, just like this. And listen to the sound of your breath as you begin. Now inhale deep and exhale. And that was a good start. Okay? Now let's try something else that helps to learn. It's another breath that is called like panting breath or lion's breath. And it's a way I like to help teach people to do the breath of fire. Try not to think about it too much because sometimes then it gets confusing. Okay? So now this time what you're going to do is stick the tongue out and we're going to start to pant like this. Like a dog panting, but really it digs deep into your chest. Stimulates your immune system. First sign of a cold, this is the perfect breath to do. 3 minutes of this, first sign of a cold. Now keep breathing, but close your mouth, do it through the nose. Close the eyes, look at that third eye just in between the two eyebrows. Now inhale deep. Suspend the breath and be perfectly still and roll the eyes up and in, like where the two eyebrows would meet and kind of deeper in. And now exhale. That's a beautiful, good start, okay? So when you're doing breath of fire, what happens is, as you're exhaling, your navel point comes in. Now the navel point in yoga is not the belly button, it's just underneath the belly button. So about 2 finger lengths width underneath your belly button, that's what's coming in. This sometimes, again, takes a little practice, but if you want great digestion, start doing a breath of fire practice, okay? Now, what you're going to do is, as you're exhaling, this should happen pretty naturally, but it's good to be aware of what should be happening. So as the exhale happens, the navel comes in. As the inhale happens, it relaxes. But again, try just to focus on the breath. Sometimes if you just focus on the exhale, that makes it easier. Ready? So here we go. We'll start to begin. First, let's take a couple deep inhales. First, deeply inhale. And keep the breath in for a moment. And exhale. And now fully inhale. And one more time, exhale. Now, close the eyes and inhale deep. Keep that chest lifted. Rhythmic breath of fire. Energize the body. Keep bringing the mind back to the breath and the gaze into that third eye point. Just a few more moments. Keep it going. Now deep inhale. Suspend your breath in, elevate, lift that gaze up and in. Be perfectly still, mentally and physically. Do not budge. Exhale. Bueno. That's wonderful. And you'll notice after that the breath becomes nice and slow. It's fundamental practice of Kundalini Yoga. You're already doing it, yeah? Now for the last part of this class, what we're going to do is a very, very special breath exercise. It's called Prandara. And this is the exercise, or known as the Kriya, to build your power of excellence. Now, if at any time you feel lightheaded or feels a little overwhelming, please just relax. You can lie down on your back, and then if you want to start again, you can. But be easy and gentle with yourself. But this is a very, very powerful exercise. Now, on this, your hands can be in that same meditation posture, with your index finger sealed to your thumb, the heart lifted, and in this exercise, your eyes are open, okay? And so your eyes are open, just pick a single point in front of you, and just kind of meditatively gaze at a single point and do your best to hold that concentration. It's normal when you start to do these exercises and start to try to meditate, the mind actually seems to be more active. I'll explain why that is later, but just know that that's normal, okay? It's to be expected. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to pucker your lips and you're going to take a deep inhalation through your mouth, like just a quick deep inhalation, and then you're going to exhale through your nose using the power of your diaphragm and your navel to push out the breath. So the navel comes in and it uses your diaphragm to powerfully exhale the breath through your nose, okay? That's how it works, just like this. So that'll be how we do it. So we're going to begin in just a moment. And again, if it feels too much, just relax the breath and stop the exercise and relax on your back. This exercise will get you very lifted very quickly. So I want you to experience something powerful, to create a space change to where you can transport yourself out of a low energy state into a high energy state very quickly. The maximum amount of time you can do this is 5 minutes. That's a long time. We're just going to do it for a much shorter amount of time today. So go ahead, bring yourself into the position, and we'll do the breath, taking as much air as you can in on the inhale, and then you push it out powerfully through the nose on the exhale. And here we go. And continue on your own rhythm. But the breath should be powerful. It's a very ancient kriya or exercise that has been done for people's health, their wealth, their happiness. It's a very sacred meditation exercise that's been known to the yogis for hundreds of years. As good as it may feel to close your eyes, keep your eyes open. Good, just 15 more seconds. Now hold your posture and deeply inhale through your mouth. Hold the breath and be still. And exhale through the nose. And now again, inhale deep through the mouth. Suspend the breath, be still. Allow the life force to circulate. Exhale. Now just a couple more times. Your deepest inhalation. Suspend the breath, be perfectly still. Exhale. One more time, inhale. Exhale, beautiful. Now, stay in your meditative posture, close your eyes, and now just let your body breathe naturally, and with your awareness, just follow your breath. Let the mind follow the breath. Let the body breathe. Keep the heart lifted, and just watch the flow of the breath. It's the most simple meditation there is. Follow the breath. Beautifully done. So that's a very simple experience, a little bit of a taste of what Kundalini Yoga is like. You don't need anything. Can you breathe? Well, then you qualify. And so now, in just a moment, we're going to seal the practice, something you should always do to end the practice. And the second part of this workshop's coming out soon, and again, you'll receive an email into your inbox as soon as it's available. And remember, make sure to take these in a fairly timely fashion because they're only available for a limited amount of time. But what I'd love for you to do after we end our practice here is to please leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and I read every single one of the comments. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know how was your experience doing these breathing exercises, the pranayama exercises. Or if nothing else, just say hi. Let me know you were here. Would love to hear from you. I read every single comment. So to seal the practice, we bring the hands back into prayer pose and we close the eyes. And we chant the most important mantra in Kundalini Yoga, the mantra Sat Nam. Sat means truth, and Nam is your identity, or what you are. What are you? You're the truth. Well, what does that mean? Well, we don't know what that means because what you really are is beyond anyone's ability to think of it, beyond your ability to think of it. What we truly are at the essence and the nucleus of ourselves is beyond the mind's capacity to comprehend in its thinking state. That's why we need to go into the meditative mind to where you get an actual experience of what you are. And that has a profound effect on your life, profound effect on your body, a profound effect on your glow and your radiance. What you truly are is greater than any thought than you can think about yourself, that I can think about you, that anyone else can think about you. What you truly are is beyond words. And that's what Sat Nam is. It's that same thing that you are is also within me and within every other single person on the planet Earth. Bring your hands to prayer pose and we'll chant vibrate a long Sat. Go Sat and a short Nam. Okay? Vibrating the sound. Inhale. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Well done. Congratulations if this is your first Kundalini Yoga experience. And please now leave me a comment below, and I'll see you very soon in part 2 of the workshop.